I have my life. You have yours. Get off. That's what my wife snapped when I asked if she wanted to spend the weekend together. No argument. No context. Just that sentence. Said without blinking while brushing her eyelashes in the mirror, like I was interrupting her commercial break. The silence afterward was louder than her words. I stood there holding 2 coffee mugs, one for her, one for me. She didn't even look at them, just kept doing her mascara. I placed hers on the counter. She didn't touch it. For hours later, she was gone. Red dress, fake smile, no goodbye. Just perfume, heels, and a slammed door. I didn't ask where she was going. I'd stopped asking. Not because I didn't care, but because her answers started to sound more like threats than explanations. At 2:47 a.m., I heard her come back. Tipsy, laughing to herself. She FaceTimed someone on the porch before she came in, not realizing I could hear everything from the hallway. She said, "He still thinks I'm his wife. It's hilarious." I didn't sleep. I just lay there staring at the ceiling, wondering how many ways a man can be humiliated in his own house without breaking. The next morning, she texted me from the living room. "Hey, can you send me $150? Hair thing." I stared at the screen. Didn't blink. Didn't think. I just typed back, "You have your wallet. I have mine." She didn't reply. She didn't need to. I just said the one thing she wasn't expecting. No? But here's the thing. That moment, the money, the message, the silence, it broke something wide open. Because 5 minutes later, I saw her phone buzz with a message from someone named Eli Work. And that's when the real story began. I stared at the name on her screen like it was written in fire. Eli Work. The parentheses made it worse, like she was already building an alibi. The message popped up while she was in the shower. Her phone was right there on the couch next to me, glowing like a warning sign I couldn't unsee. "Last night was dangerous. Let's be smarter next time." No emojis. No punctuation. Just those words. And suddenly my heartbeat was louder than the running water in the bathroom. I didn't open the message. Didn't touch the phone. But I didn't need to. That one sentence was a confession. The kind that doesn't use the word cheating, but drips with it anyway. When she walked back into the room, towel wrapped around her, pretending like the past 24 hours didn't just happen, I didn't say a thing. Not yet. She sat across from me, scrolling TikTok like nothing mattered, laughing at a video of a raccoon stealing a hot dog. I stared at her, wondering how many lies a smile can hide. Wondering how many nights she'd used Eli from work as an umbrella term for betrayal. I spent the rest of the day doing what cowards do, gathering data but doing nothing about it. I went through old emails, blurry memories, her social media likes, the sudden gym obsession, her new obsession with working late and networking dinners. All of it started pointing in the same direction. A direction I refused to face for months because I didn't want to admit I'd lost her. Or worse, that I never really had her. By 10 p.m., I was spiraling. I hadn't eaten. I hadn't spoken. I was just watching her from across the room, trying to decode every blink, every stretch, every tap on her screen. She'd become a stranger, and I was living with a woman I no longer recognized. When she finally looked up from her phone and caught me staring, she raised an eyebrow and said, "Can I help you?" I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. Just a weak, "Who's Eli?" She didn't flinch, didn't pause, just shrugged like it was a dumb question. "Coworker. Chill." Then she stood up and walked past me like my suspicion was some minor inconvenience in her glamorous evening. I wanted to scream. Instead, I just sat there, again, being the husband who asks quiet questions and receives quieter lies. But that night, I made a decision. If I was going to be the ghost in this marriage, then I might as well haunt it properly. I didn't sleep that night. Not even a little. I lay beside her, staring at the ceiling while she scrolled through her phone, occasionally giggling at something I wasn't invited to understand. The glow of her screen flickered across the room like a flashlight in a crime scene. I couldn't stop looking at it. Couldn't stop picturing who was on the other end. Every time she rolled over, I thought about asking more, pushing further. But the truth is, I was afraid of answers. You can't unhear a lie. You can't unsee betrayal. And once it's confirmed, it's yours to carry forever. At 3:17 a.m., she finally dozed off. That's when I got up. Slowly, quietly. I walked down the hallway like a man sneaking out of his own life. I sat at the dining table with my laptop and opened an old folder marked taxes. Inside, I kept everything she thought I deleted, bank statements, phone logs, shared cloud access she forgot I had. It took me 40 minutes to trace it. That Eli number had been texting her for 4 months. Thousands of messages, mostly deleted on her end. But Cloud Sync doesn't lie. One night in July, there were 37 texts in under 15 minutes. That's not work talk. That's a fire. The worst part? They met up 3 blocks from our house, a hotel I used to walk past on my way to get groceries. And once, on the same weekend I was sick in bed with the flu, she had a receipt from that same hotel in her archived emails. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I just stared at it. That moment didn't even feel real. It felt like I was watching a movie where I was the background character, the one who doesn't realize he's already been cut out of the frame. And then, I did something pathetic. I baked her muffins. No, I'm not joking. I had this stupid idea in my head, some deranged attempt to see if she still had a soul. I made her damn favorite banana nut muffins before sunrise. When she woke up, I told her, "Thought I'd surprise you." She looked at the tray, then at me, and said, "Why are you being weird?" Weird. That's what love is now, I guess. She took a bite, half smiled, then left for brunch with coworkers. She wore the perfume I got her for our anniversary. I should have felt proud. I felt sick. And when she walked out the door, I whispered to myself, "I know where you're going." But she didn't hear it. Because ghosts don't have voices. Not until they scream. By the time Ray left that morning, muffin in hand and lie on lips, I wasn't even hurt anymore. I was hollow, numb. But underneath that numbness was something new. Something alive. A flicker of anger I hadn't let myself feel in years. I didn't follow her. I didn't message. I didn't even refresh her location history, though I knew I could. Instead, I drove. Not far. Just aimless. Through streets we used to walk. Past that bakery she swore had the best almond croissants. Past the theater where she once cried during a movie trailer. I was looking for something. Maybe a memory that didn't hurt. I didn't find one. I ended up in the parking lot of a Home Depot. Not sure why. Maybe I thought tools would give me answers. But what I found instead was a moment of clarity. This wasn't a marriage anymore. It was a performance. One actor on stage, the other working backstage, pretending the audience hadn't already left. That night, she came home around 7, smiling. A little too much. Lipstick slightly smeared. Jacket on inside out. She looked surprised to see me sitting at the kitchen table, just waiting. She asked, "Didn't expect you to be home already." I smiled and replied, "I live here, remember?" She looked at me like I was the rude one. She sat down across from me, scrolled through her phone, and asked if I paid the electricity bill. That's when I said it, quietly, calmly. "I know about Eli." She didn't react right away. Didn't flinch. Just froze mid-scroll, thumb hovering over her screen like it lost signal. Then she set the phone down and said, "Don't do this." That line, "Don't do this." Like I was the problem. Like she was the one being ambushed. I repeated, "I know. You don't have to lie anymore." Her face hardened. No guilt. No fear. Just calculation. Like she was rearranging the script in her head. She leaned back and said, "Okay, so what? You want me to beg or something?" The room went silent. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because that was her defense. Arrogance. Not even denial. She just admitted it with the same tone she uses when arguing about parking tickets. I stood up, walked past her. She didn't follow. Didn't ask where I was going. I spent that night at my brother's place. He asked what happened. I told him everything. And for the first time in years, I said the words I had never allowed myself to say out loud. She doesn't love me, and I think she enjoys watching me hurt. That night, I didn't cry. I planned. And fire doesn't knock twice. The worst part wasn't that she cheated. It wasn't even that she didn't deny it. The worst part was how routine it felt for her. Like I was interrupting a lifestyle she had already grown comfortable in. One where I was just the guy who paid the bills and stayed out of the way. I didn't sleep at my brother's for long. Just that one night. I didn't want to explain myself more than once. He kept offering advice. Talk to a lawyer. Don't go back. Get her out of your house. I nodded, but I wasn't ready for confrontation. Not yet. When I returned the next morning, the house felt like a hotel room. My things were untouched. Her perfume still hung in the air, sharp and sweet. A pair of wine glasses were in the sink, only one with lipstick on the rim. I stared at them longer than I should have. She wasn't home. Her car was gone. No note. No message. No curiosity about where I'd vanished to overnight. That told me everything. So I started watching. Not her, myself. I started logging everything I paid for. Rent, utilities, streaming services, groceries. I calculated every cent I spent keeping our home together while she spent her nights. Wherever. I was building a case, not for court, but for my own sanity. For once, I wanted to know exactly what I was worth in someone else's life. Apparently, it was a utility bill and the occasional baked good. That week, I didn't confront her again. I didn't ask about Eli. I didn't question her midnight showers or late returns. I just kept smiling, playing the role she expected me to. Let her think I was retreating. Let her think I was broken. But every quiet dinner, every unanswered call, every time she left without explanation, I added it to a document I titled, "When She Asks Why." I started changing small things. I moved some money out of our shared account, canceled a few subscriptions she used but never paid for, set up a new checking account in my name only. She didn't notice. Or maybe she didn't care enough to ask. One night she walked in, clearly buzzed, and asked if I wanted to join her and some friends for drinks on Saturday. I knew what she was doing, pretending, throwing a breadcrumb of inclusion just so she could sleep guilt-free. I looked her dead in the eye and said, "No thanks. I'll be busy." She didn't ask with what. She didn't want to know. And that's when I realized we weren't married anymore. We were just two actors stuck in a scene neither of us believed in. But I'd already read the final line. She just hadn't seen the script yet. Saturday came and went. She didn't stay home. I didn't ask where she was going. She didn't offer to tell me. That had become our routine. Two strangers playing house with matching keys and mismatched stories. I spent the evening reviewing my notes. All of it. The timestamps, the receipts, the texts I'd quietly mirrored from the cloud she forgot was still synced to our shared email. I had enough to paint a full picture, one that didn't need assumptions or accusations. I didn't just think she was cheating. I knew. And worse, I knew how little she cared that I knew. Around 11:30 p.m., she texted me, "Do you want anything from McDonald's?" I stared at the screen. 3 weeks of lies, cold shoulders, secret weekends, gaslighting, and now she wanted to bring me fries? I typed no and left it at that. When she got home, I was sitting on the couch, laptop open, folder still pulled up. Not because I wanted her to see it, but because part of me wanted to be caught. Wanted her to know I wasn't sleeping through this anymore. She walked past me, greasy bag in hand, humming some song I didn't recognize. I waited for her to say something. Anything. A fake apology. A bad excuse. A nervous laugh. But all she said was, "You always stay up this late now?" I replied, "Lately, yeah." She nodded like that was normal. Like we weren't spiraling into collapse with every casual sentence. She disappeared into the bedroom without another word. I heard the door click shut, and with it, something inside me did the same. That night, I uploaded everything to a cloud drive. All the evidence. I wrote a letter and attached it to the folder. It wasn't dramatic. No insults. No bitterness. Just facts. Dates. Screenshots. Receipts. The final line read, "For when you ask why." The next day, I took my wedding ring off. Not during a fight. Not during a breakdown. Just, silently, while brushing my teeth. I left it on the bathroom counter. She noticed it an hour later. I heard her footsteps pause in the hallway, then retreat. She never asked about it. She never asked anything anymore. Because I think deep down, she knew I'd stopped being her backup plan. I'd started being her exit sign. And when people start looking for exits, the fire is already in the walls. The house was quiet, but not the peaceful kind. It was the quiet you get after something breaks, when both people pretend it didn't, even though the pieces are everywhere. I didn't talk much that week. Not because I was angry. I wasn't. I'd moved past anger. I was studying her now, watching how she navigated the world she thought I still believed in. Every fake smile, every forced, "How was your day?" felt like an actor forgetting her lines. She didn't bring up the ring. She didn't mention the nights I didn't sleep in the same bed. She didn't ask where I'd gone during the evenings I disappeared for hours without explanation. And the beautiful irony of it all, she never asked because she thought she'd trained me to accept it. But I wasn't trying to win her back anymore. I was showing her how it felt. I changed my phone password. I started dressing better. I joined a gym near the edge of town, one she didn't know existed. Not because I was trying to be petty, but because I finally remembered I was a human being outside her orbit. And watching her face the first time I stepped out of the house in something that wasn't a wrinkled hoodie, That was the moment I knew the shift had begun. She didn't like not knowing where I was. She didn't say it, but she didn't need to. Her eyes did. 2 days later, she started asking surface-level questions again. Do you want anything from the store? What are you doing Saturday? Are you okay? But it was too late. She wasn't asking out of love. She was asking because she could feel something slipping, something she didn't expect to miss. I started turning the lights off earlier, locking the bathroom door, checking my phone the moment it buzzed, and smiling just slightly when I did. None of it was for revenge. It was for clarity, for balance, for her to feel the kind of uncertainty that I'd been drowning in for months. One night she asked if I wanted to watch a movie together, like it was 2019 and everything wasn't bleeding. I said, no thanks. I've already seen the ending. She looked at me for a full 5 seconds before walking away. No follow-up, no defense, just that flicker of fear behind her eyes, like maybe, just maybe, she wasn't the one in control anymore. The next morning, she woke up before me, made breakfast, set the table, wore makeup, told me I looked good in that shirt. I nodded, thanked her, then walked out the door. I didn't tell her where I was going, because now, it was her turn to guess. She didn't notice the packed bag in the trunk. Or maybe she did and didn't believe I had the spine to use it. For the first time in over a year, I woke up before her. Not because I couldn't sleep, but because I finally could. The weight was gone. The confusion, the self-doubt, the endless reruns of maybe it's just a phase, all of it gone. I made coffee. 1 cup, just for me. Then I walked into the bedroom. She was half asleep, wrapped in the same sheets she used to keep me out of. I didn't yell. I didn't beg. I didn't even speak. I just placed the printed letter on her nightstand. The one with every detail, every receipt, every quiet truth I had gathered. On top of it, I left the house keys and the ring she never asked about. She opened her eyes just as I turned to leave. She blinked, sat up, said my name once, like it had just started to mean something again. But I didn't turn around. I said, you'll find the answers in the envelope. Just read it when you're done pretending. And with that, I walked out. No scene, no explosion, just the echo of a door she never thought I'd close. That was 3 months ago. Now, I live in a smaller place. Not much, but it's quiet. I've started hiking again. Found a cafe I like. I even laughed at a text from someone new last weekend, and it wasn't forced. I don't check her socials. I don't reread the messages. I don't care what story she tells other people, because I know what happened. I lived it, and I survived it. Not all endings are dramatic. Sometimes the most powerful goodbye is the one where you don't look back.